West Ham have moved up to 13th in the Premier League. Dizzy heights. Indeed, we've been 14th for so long. It feels like a festive Christmas treat, which is, well, except for the Christmas tree. I'm joking. It's not the Christmas tree. Let's be called that the Christmas twig. Anyway, we're in the branch. We're in the branch room today for this one. In fact, that is probably quite symbolic of the game we've just watched. When we were probably expecting a resplendent festive Christmas tree, we got a branch with some Amazon LEDs on it. What can I say? I don't want to be too negative, Nelly, about that game. I really don't. But the commentator said at the end, well, that was a good game. We enjoyed that. Oh, blimey. Now, they've been on the sherry. We said no one drinks sherry anymore. I think those commentators must have been. It wasn't a great game, particularly the first half. It was full of errors. I do think West Ham deserved to win it, but make no mistake about it, Southampton had enough chances to get something from that game, and they just didn't have a cutting edge. Southampton do not have a cutting edge. If they did, that game could have turned out very, very differently indeed. We actually started the game really, really well, actually, I thought. And I think within the first 30 seconds, did Bowen fire over? I think he did. We had another attack quite shortly afterwards. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, great one run down the right. He pulled it across the face of goal, sort of, and Nicholas Füllkrug basically did a dummy. I thought it was very good. I thought it was really good, intelligent play. Carlos Soler ran onto the ball and he hit the bar. Maybe he hit it a little bit more ferociously than he needed to. It was a good move. And West Ham would certainly spend the first 10 minutes, I thought, being the team in the ascendancy. But gradually, slowly but surely, Southampton started to work their way back into the game. Look, quite a lot happened. Let's deal with the injuries first. Max Kilman went down with a shoulder injury, had to be substituted. He's fine. We saw him on the bench. Less clear at the moment, or at the point that I record this, is there was Fabiański had to go off with a concussion on 30 minutes, something like that. It was hard to really gauge any real timing for the game because there were such big injury lapses and certainly stoppages. They played 10 minutes in additional time just in the second half alone. The first half alone. So that tells you how much of a stop-start game that was. So I don't know, couldn't tell you how Fabiański is, but yeah, went off, stretchered off, did not look good at all. Certainly, changed did it change the ebb and flow of the game? Not really. Fabiański he'd had one flat, he'd made one really good save from Onuachu, who, if he could score, we'd have been in trouble today. He was a bit of a handful when he showed some neat touches, but if he'd have been any good, we'd have been in trouble. Like the same with that Sugawara. If he'd have been able to cross, we would have been in real trouble today. I was worried when Kilman went off. He makes you realise quite how much we've grown to rely upon him. Mavropanos went over to left-sided centre-back into Kilman's position. Todibo came on. Almost immediately Mavropanos gave the ball away, but he wasn't the only one. Right from the very start, Kudus gave the ball away right in front of our defence. It was two teams, just really poor technique, it has to be said. And we certainly had far more technique than we displayed. But I think those of us had sort of thought that maybe Carlos Soler would bring a little bit of, I don't know, just some playmaking abilities to the middle of the park. He didn't really. We were bad. It was a bad midfield performance. It has to be said, albeit with a couple of bright sparks in there. What I've got to say about Todibo, positionally, he's an issue. I do think he is, but I thought he did okay. He came on at right centre back. He played his part in the goal. Actually, really kept the ball alive in the second half of the goal. So yeah, fair play to Todibo. I thought he did all right actually. It was a game where some players, a couple of players played well. Some players did okay, and then some were absolute pants. Probably easy to go through them. Emerson again, not very good. Just got no chemistry. We Kudus down that left-hand side. Kudus looked better once again when he played on the right-hand side once Lopetegui did his changes, but on the left-hand side, I say no chemistry down there. I think what was most worrying with Kudus today, he wasn't really interested in the 50-50s. And like sometimes you watch Kudus play and he'll go on a real dribble and he'll use his strength and he'll ride a challenge. None of that. None of it. You wouldn't even have known he has real good physical strength, Kudus. You wouldn't have known that today. Rodríguez Really surprised he got selected. He actually did one decent pass that I remember, one highlight. I'm not saying he only made one pass, but, you could have easily been forgiven for not particularly noticing that Rodríguez played all up until the point where he did. He got a red card, he got rescinded by VAR. It was correctly rescinded. He did go in two-footed, but he thought about it as he was going in, and he pulled out. He sort of pulled out of it. His studs were showing, and just before he went in, it was on Kyle Walker-Peters, he pointed his studs down so the player didn't get injured. So, yeah, it was reckless, but he changed his mind halfway through, which is what you want, really, isn't it? So, I tell you what was really weird, though, was when that was going on, Lopetegui on the touchline. Bearing in mind that this is a guy that's not only had a touchline ban, but since he came back from a touchline ban, I'm talking about Lopetegui here, has already got another yellow card. And even though it was quite clear that the decision of Rodríguez's tackle was going to go to VAR, so there was nothing at that point Lopetegui could have done about it. He was still ranting. I mean, quite aggressively at the fourth official. I was just thinking, what are you doing, mate? You know, you're just going to put yourself in a situation where you get another touchline ban again. Who else? Look, Bowen scored the goal. Well done, Bowen. I thought him and Wan-Bissaka were the only two players that gave it real energy for the full 90 minutes. 90 minutes. I don't know. It's probably like 100. You play a game probably like 107 minutes or something like that. It wasn't 90 minutes at all. Well done to them. So let me tell you. I'll tell you the good, the bad, and the indifferent. Kudus, no good. Rodríguez, no good. Soler, not happy about that. Emerson, no. Fulkrug did okay. After he did that dummy, basically, so the ball, he dummied the ball, he stepped over it, he didn't kick it. And for about half an hour, the best thing that Fulkrug did was not kick the football. But then he won a good header, got a really good flick on as well, set up an attack. And he played a crucial role in the goal. So I think Fulkrug comes away with some credit from today's game. The goal itself was good. I mean, the midfield was bad. I mean, I can't tell you how bad that midfield was. By the end of it, he actually took Soler off. So we had a midfield of Rodríguez, Alvarez and Souček. I mean, no one wants to see that. I never want to see that again. That's why when the commentator was saying, oh, this was a good game. Well, was it? All right, fair enough. But Souček did his part. He played his role with a header, kept the ball alive. He headed it on. Then Fulkrug did a nice little flick header. And Bowen finished it. Good striker's instinct. I know he's not a striker, but you know what I mean. He's good at finding himself in those positions, isn't he? And actually produced the kind of, I'm talking about Fulkrug here, maybe the kind of clinical header into the danger area that Onuachu was not quite capable enough, although he did some good parts. So, I mean, it was a hard game to enjoy. We got the win, and I'm pleased we got the win. And look, this is where we are. We've got Wolves and Man United. I guess by the time you've watched this, you probably even know that result. I think as I'm recording this, I think it's just about to kick off. And I just think we just look like the 14th place team. I think we've done well to come through these fixtures. Actually, last 4 fixtures, 2 wins, 2 draws. That's okay. That's okay. But I'm not going to get hyped up about it because I do think there are going to be teams that rip our defence to shreds. But you've got to look and you've got to sort of hope that Fabiański is okay and comes through it. There were a couple of bright sparks in the game, 3 or 4. Todibo, Wan-Bissaka, Bowen, Fulkrug to an extent. There wasn't much else. It has to be said. There wasn't much else. And as I say, a midfielder I'm quite happy never to see play again, really. I can't remember what game it was where Lopetegui picked the two. He picked Soler and he picked Paqueta, and I thought, oh, this is good. This is showing us. It may even have been against Wolves. I'm not sure. I'm standing to be corrected on that. And I thought, oh, he's going to play with 2 playmakers in midfield. We've not really seen it since, and I do think it was the best way for us to go. And I'm surprised he did it. I was surprised. Look, he won. Ultimately, he won, and I'm not. I shouldn't be moaning about it, but it was. But there you go. It's pretty turgid stuff, really, isn't it? I think some of the football is pretty bad. I do wonder. It is a knackering period. I get that. Certainly get the impression that 2 or 3 of the players have sort of checked out. I'm not whether they've done it permanently or whether it's just a festive thing. I'm not so sure, but I certainly got my eye on 2 or 3 players at the moment. We'll discuss them more in depth when we do our player player ratings over on Patreon tomorrow morning. If you're not signed up for Patreon, go and check it out. Go and check it out. You can get your sort of free trial if you want. Check it out. Tomorrow, myself and Gia will be there, giving our players their numbers and giving a description on why we think people were good, bad, or indifferent. I'll expand on that. I certainly feel I want to expand more on Emerson and Kudus, I think, in that one as well. But you know what? A good win. Any win's a good win, right? That's a good win. And I think we needed that. It should be terrifying against Liverpool. So I think, to come out 4 games, 2 draws, particularly draws against Brighton and Bournemouth, decent, to get 2 draws in games that maybe you would expect the opposition to win, and then to get 2 wins, all right, not massively convincing, but to get 2 wins against the teams you would be expected to beat is a good thing. So, onwards and upwards. Anyway, wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Thank you, as ever, for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your Boxing Day. You're probably half asleep. Anyway, you probably all drunk too much sherry, too many pigs in blankets, eating yesterday's dinner. I know what you're up to. Falling asleep. And you probably, I was going to say, it might be Wolves and Man United might send you to sleep, but maybe not. Exciting. Might be an absolute thriller. Anyway, I'll catch up with you tomorrow.